Good morning, friend. It is 6:30 in the morning and we have a busy day. Here is one project we need to tackle, but the most important project is actually tackling these peppers, and the tomatoes are actually out in the garden. Yesterday I tried to start this and life happened and it did not work out, so that's why we were out here this morning at 6:30 in the morning, and we are going to get all of this year's tomatoes planted and peppers planted. I have been hardening off these peppers and tomato plants for the last week. Every single day they've been out here. I started with a few hours, and the last 3 days they've been out here all day, and they actually spent the night out here because I was going to get them in the ground last night. Didn't happen, and so I figured they could go ahead and just sleep out here. No need to put them back in the grow room. So biggest goals today is to get everything out of the grow room because it's easier to manage it once it's out in the garden. We officially are way past our frost date, average last frost date, I should say. And when I look at the 10-day forecast, the weather is not supposed to dip below 50 degrees. I have never in my gardening career planted things out this late. I just learned last year that pepper plants do not like to go below 45 degrees Fahrenheit at night, or I guess during the day too, but if it was 45 at daytime, that'd be way too cold at night, and it stunts their growth. I have never had pepper plants look this good going out into the garden, so I'm hoping, and I've never had a fantastic, I've had a good pepper harvest, but never a fantastic one, and it might be because I've been putting them out too early when it's too cold. This is my other project that I'm gonna try to tackle today. I started it yesterday. What I did is I wanted to kind of give this potting soil some new life. These are the pots that had things in it last year. So what I did is I emptied the majority of the soil into my wheelbarrow, and then I got some compost, and I took probably about 30% of the soil that was used last year out of these pots. And I mixed in compost, and then the top like 4 or 5 inches I topped dressed with some Happy Frog potting mix, and then some of them I still didn't quite have enough potting soil. I just topped with the old potting mix that I used last year. I'm hoping to give some new life to the soil so that they produce very well for me. I want to get this area of my patio cleaned up because this weekend I'm going with my mother-in-law to get my hanging baskets. That is our new tradition. This will be the 2nd year in a row, and I want this patio clean, and I want all my peppers and tomatoes into the garden and out of the grow room so that there's only one place that I am taking care of plants. And once they go out into the garden, it's really less work for me to manage them than when they're in the grow room. They kind of help take care of themselves when they're out there. I still have quite a few things that I need to direct sow where I'm not planting starts, I'm just putting seeds in the ground, but I can worry about that a little bit later. I just want to get these plants into the ground so I don't have to worry about them in here anymore. So I'm going to go down to the garden with some different fertilizers here and this soil. I'm not going to waste this potting mix. I'm just going to go ahead and top dress one of my beds with it, because over the last year, the bed's kind of compacted due to just rain and weather. And so I might as well just go ahead and put this kind of spent potting mix in the raised bed. And I'm not busy enough. I got some plant starts through Azure. The parsley and basil I started did not survive when we were gone for a week. It just dried up and shriveled up. And then I got a couple echinacea flowers. I got some Rebecca. I do have Rebecca and echinacea I started, but I went ahead and picked up a few more. The cosmos I started did not do well, so I got some cosmos and feverfew and a lot of basil. So these eventually are going to go in the green stalks if I can get to that today. So the first thing I wanted to look at this morning were the tomatoes that I planted yesterday. I am so encouraged. They look fantastic. I was a little worried about them, but no need to be worried about them. They look great. In this bed, I got 12 Roma tomato plants planted. In between the plants, I'm gonna put on the south side, I'm gonna put sweet potato slips, and then on the north side, which is this side, so it's gonna get more shade, I don't know what I'm gonna put yet, but something that likes a little bit cooler. And probably along this edge, I'll put either lettuce or more cilantro. across from this bed, right here is where we're gonna put some more tomatoes. This is my cut flower snapdragon bed, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. But on the back side, we are gonna be putting tomatoes and tomatillos. And here are all the tomatoes and some tomatillos that are gonna be going into the ground. These varieties of tomatoes are called indeterminate varieties, so they need very tall trellises because they're gonna grow and grow and grow, versus my Roma tomatoes are a determinate variety of tomato, meaning they only get to a certain height, which is about 4 feet tall. So I can put these in tomato cages and they're gonna do just fine. These are going to be my sauce making tomatoes. I wanna make a whole lot of marinara sauce that I made last year that was so good. I just opened my last pint that I had been savoring over the weekend. And then these tomatoes that are my vining tomatoes, my indeterminate varieties, and tomatillos, they are more going to be for fresh eating, except for I still do have one more bed I'm going to plant of Roma tomatoes down there. My original plan was to just dump that soil and then come back up here or go up back to the patio and grab all the pepper plants, but I'm down here and I think I just want to get my hands in the dirt right away. So what I'm going to do, oh my goodness, that's hilarious. There is a volunteer tomato plant, volunteer tomato, and I think this is a volunteer. I think that is, what is it called? Chamomile. Now I haven't fully planned out where I'm gonna put everything, but I do know that I'm gonna plant each one of these tomatoes. And I also heard you can do this with peppers. An egg. I just crack an egg, mix it into the soil, and apparently it's supposed to help give nutrients to the plant. I don't know. I've always done it. I'm always going to do it because that's how I've always done it. I have 1, 2, let's see, Paul Robeson. I have more tomato plants than I need this year, so whatever I don't use, I'll give to my mother-in-law. Let's start with the tomatillos. I think I'm going to put these in the middle of the bed, and then on each end, I'm going to put tomatoes. They're not the best looking tomato or tomatillo plants I've ever started, but I'm happy that I've got some at all. I just spent a minute trying to figure out where I was going to put everything, and this is what I've decided. So I have Cherokee Purple, Mortgage Lifter, our tomatillos, Paul Robeson, and pineapple. So I'm going to do 2 of each variety, and I tried to pick varieties that I know look pretty different. Now I do have tags this year, so I'm going to be able to know what is what. I'm going to do 2 of each, which is going to be easy, and I just wanted them to be pretty different so that when they're growing, I'll easily be able to tell them apart. So this is going to be fun. Now that I've done this, it's going to make figuring out what I'm going to do down there a whole lot easier. Now some of them I have 4 plants in here. I'm only going to plant 2 of each, and I will gift the other tomatoes to my mother-in-law, and my mom is back in town, so I'm going to ask her what she wants as well with what I have left over. So in here, I'm gonna have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 plants along that back trellis. So even though I'm growing a lot more flowers this year, I'm still gonna grow a lot of yummy, yummy things to eat. So I'm just gonna carefully break that in half. Since this has more soil left in it, I'm going to plop this back in this container. I'll probably end up putting a little bit more soil in there to up pot those. And I'm going to leave this tomato plant right behind these so that I know what it is, because I only have one label on that. And I'm going to try to space these out evenly. Let's see. I do like to take the bottom leaves off when I plant tomatoes, and then I can bury that tomato up its stem. I only have 2 Paul Robeson, so I can totally empty this.
I think I said when we passed our average last frost date, it felt like summer, or not summer, but like garden season officially started. But there is something so quintessential summer gardening when we talk about putting tomatoes and peppers in the ground. When I think of a summer garden, I think of tomatoes and peppers. And so this just feels like a huge milestone that we have been working months towards. And so it's a good day. It felt so good getting up really early and getting this done before the heat came. We definitely have turned a corner, and we are having some hot days. And so I wanted to get out here and do this before the heat of the day. Now, when it comes to planting an egg with your tomatoes, I highly recommend you scramble the egg. The first time I ever did this, I didn't know to do that, and I just put the egg in the ground. And when I was cleaning up my garden beds in the fall, I not only found whole eggs in my garden, which is a little bit scary because I didn't want them to crack and find, like what would that be like? And I also had animals dig up my plants to get to the egg. So definitely, if you're going to do this, put it in the ground, give it a good scramble, mix it in with the soil, and then bury your tomato plant a little bit deep. I don't remember where I saw this. It might have been Jess from Roots and Refuge. It might have been some other garden channel. I don't remember exactly who it was that told me that this was a good idea. I've just done it every year, and my tomatoes have always done relatively well. So I figured it doesn't hurt. I have a lot of eggs because I've got chickens. And so I just, for the couple weeks leading up to planting tomatoes, I know that I like to save some eggs so that I can go ahead and plant those with my tomatoes. It probably would be really interesting one year. What I probably should have done is done one bed of my Roma tomatoes with the egg and one without, to see if I can tell a difference, but I didn't do that this year. I just went ahead and got them planted. So we now have one Roma tomato bed done. Now we officially have this bed done. Let's move on to another bed.
So 2 beds done, and we're going to do basically the same thing over here. I still have to figure out what's going where. I do know Roma tomato plants are going in this bed, so I need to remove this landscape fabric. And then other tomato plants are going up here. I'm really excited about this year. I'm growing San Marzanos. So many of you guys said I need to do that, and I'm excited to try that this year. So I put 10 plants along that back side so I can do that here. So let's see. None of my cherry tomatoes made it. So I might pick up 1 or 2 cherry tomato plants. Do I know where I'm going to put them yet? No, but I might do that. So 2 Brandywine, 4, 6, 2, so 4 San Marzanos. Those snapdragons are going to my sister's house this weekend. She is going to be planting those snapdragons at her house. I just need to bring them over to her. This is the very, very last landscape fabric that I have to pull up this year. And I have to say, I'm very excited about it. Oh, so excited not to have to wrestle those any longer. Now, what I have in this bed last year was a melon, a pumpkin, and a kale bed. That's what these stalks here, they are very stuck in the ground. Some of them I could maybe rip up. I've kind of just been letting them compost in place. Maybe this one, since I've already started ripping it up, I think I'm just gonna leave them because it's good for the soil to have organic matter break down. Like, this would have been really good to leave this in the ground, but we're just gonna pull this one up because I already started pulling it up. Looks like this kale plant is starting to grow new roots, which is interesting. I don't really want kale this year. We don't eat enough of it. It was really beautiful in here last year. I think I'm just gonna leave the rest of them. No need to pull them up. So it looks like I am short 3 Roma tomato plants. I thought I did the math correctly, but I guess I didn't. So we've got our Romas in here that I started. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put sweet potatoes between the Roma plants because I read somewhere that sweet potatoes grow well with tomatoes. And then I don't know what I'm gonna put between these ones. Maybe some, I don't know, maybe nothing, we'll see. But up here, I finally figured out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 2 Brandywine, 2 Old German. Maybe I'll switch those because Brandywine's gonna look quite a bit different than Old German. And so I kind of wanna really be able to tell the difference between my tomato plants. And then over here, I have 2 Big Rainbow. Those are new to me this year. I'm gonna do 2 Dr. Witchies and 2 San Marzanos. The sun is starting to peek up over the trees, and so it's gonna get pretty warm pretty quick. So I'm glad I started early because we've got almost all the tomatoes planted. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these planted out, and then I will show you what it looks like, and then we are going to start going on peppers next. I now have all the tomatoes that I'm planting this year in the ground. 2 Old German, 2 Brandywine, 2 Big Rainbow, 2 Dr. Witchies, 2 San Marzanos. So now what I'm gonna do is empty this potting mix into a bed. Maybe I will put it in this bed. This bed I'm gonna put peppers in today, but you can see that we're starting to get a couple blooms. They haven't opened yet on these snapdragons. This orange color is beautiful. And look at this. That's the black prince. That's gonna be so stunning. It is much cooler up here in the shade. It is starting to get pretty warm in the sun. So I have an extra 2, 4, 6, 8, 17 tomato plants that I am gonna find new homes for this afternoon. So I'm gonna get these up here. I went ahead and I did take some soil and I potted them up so that they are a little bit happier. I don't want them in the direct sunlight right now because they went through a little bit of stress while I was disrupting them. So I'm gonna put them up here in the shade so that they're not getting baked. These ones aren't so stressed because I didn't actually take any out of these containers. Oh yes, I forgot. I have eggplants. I've never even eaten an eggplant before, and I've got, oh, uh-oh, sorry about that. Little pepper. I have some absolutely beautiful eggplants. These are my eggplants right here. This is a Black Beauty eggplant. Okay, so let's go ahead and start planting some of these peppers. Jalapenos. Let's see what this, I think this whole tray is the same kind of pepper other than, oh, I did not label this one, of course. Let's see. This tray is Anaheim's. I think I want to start with my hot peppers on this bed. It's still in the shade, so that's going to be kind of nice to start in the shade. Let's see. These are hot peppers down here. I ran out of eggs. Let's get this one over here because this is the pepper that... I'm going to start with these and see how far this gets us, if this gets us one entire bed or not. I have 4 beds that I can put peppers in. What I'm thinking is I'm going to do 3 rows and from front to back, and I'm going to have 9 rows total. So I've got 3 habaneros, 3 sugar rush peach, 3 serranos, 6 serranos. I like making hot sauce with serranos. This is a new pepper to me. I can't remember the name of it. I've never grown it, but it's purple. It changes colors and it's supposed to be super hot. So I was thinking I would make hot sauce out of that. I only have 5 of them, so I need to figure out what I'm gonna put right here. I'll put the name right here so you can see what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up when I go back inside and look at my peppers. And then I have 3 of this variety. I've never grown this before either. And then I have 6 jalapenos, and I have a few extra plants. I have jalapeno there. This one didn't look fantastic. It is growing from right there, so we'll see how that goes. But I have these ones here as well, but I think I want to go ahead and grab all my peppers, get them laid out in all the beds, and then I will see exactly which ones I will have extra of and which ones I will rehome this weekend. So this right here represents 1 more bed. So I think I'm gonna have a total of 3.5 beds of peppers, which is awesome. I think this is all I can go in one go.
The first bed we planted out was hot peppers. I've always had better success growing hot peppers than sweet peppers. I am not sure if that is because hot peppers are easier to grow than sweet peppers, or if that's just happens to be my experience. But in my experience, hot peppers have been easier to grow, which is okay with me because I love hot peppers. I put hot sauce on everything. And so last year was the first year I was able to put up enough hot sauce to get me through a year. I've probably gone through about 3/4 of what I made last year. And so by the time pepper harvest comes around in late August, early September, I probably will be just about out of the homemade hot sauce I made. But this bed is more of a sweet bell pepper bed, and I'm hoping that we can be a little bit more successful with the bell peppers this year because I've never had a super good success with that. And I'm thinking hopefully because I'm planting them out a little bit later, they will actually do a little bit better.
This is what I have. I have 7 sweet banana peppers, and then I don't know how to say this type of pepper, but I have 2 of those here. And then I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 yellow monsters. And then I have 3 of these sweet, I'm not sure how to say that either. I've never grown those, so those are new to me there. And that bed is now decided what's going to be planted. I have a few extra here, but I'm not going to figure out where I put those. If I put them anywhere, I probably am going to gift them because I still have these peppers plus the peppers I still need to grab. So I don't think I'm going to get 4 beds of peppers. I think I'm going to get 3 beds of peppers, which should be more than enough. I just have to figure out which bed I want to put them in. So this is what I'm looking like. I have 3 basically empty beds left, plus I have areas in different beds that have empty spaces. I have this bed. It has stuff in it, but a lot of that's volunteers, and it looks like actually my first anemone flower is gonna bloom. This right here, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about that. So all of that in there, those are volunteer sunflowers. This was a sunflower bed and a potato bed last year. I don't see any volunteer potatoes. I see volunteer cosmos, so I'm gonna transplant those today. Probably not until tonight because it's gonna get hot today. But I could put peppers in here. I'm gonna have something trellising up that trellis, or I could put those peppers that I have left in this bed here. This is another option. This is where I've just been dumping some different plants that didn't end up working out. So my basil ended up dying. That's why I had to pick up a couple starts. And so I just put that in here. I'm gonna let it kind of compost in this bed. So I have to figure this out. But before I do any of that, I'm gonna have a couple more sips of coffee because I've only had 1/4 of my cup that I made myself this morning. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and give some water to the plants I've already planted. And while I'm watering, I am going to contemplate what I'm gonna be planting. I'm looking at this bed here too. That is my cabbage and broccoli, or cabbage and Romanesco and cauliflower that I started. All the stuff I bought basically was eaten. And so this bed is pretty empty as well, but it looks like some of our pinto beans are starting to sprout, which is pretty exciting.
I did go into this garden season with a plan where I was going to put everything, but I have kind of changed that plan a little bit. So what I've been doing when I've been trying to figure out where I want to put things is I usually take a break and I watered things, and now I am soaking some beans because I figured I don't have enough to plant today. Let's get some bean soaking and plant some more beans.
After much contemplation and the rest of my coffee, I decided where I'm going to put these peppers, and it's neither of the two beds I showed you. That bed up there is where we have our hot peppers, and then we're going to skip an entire row. So I'm happy with this because it kind of creates a pattern. So no peppers in these 3 rows here, or 4 beds that row. And then we're in the middle row here, and I didn't show you this bed earlier, but this is in the very smack middle of the garden. I have ranunculus on this end, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 3 Anaheim peppers. In the back there, I have nothing yet from that T-post to that T-post, and I'm going to plant something there in just a minute. From that T-post to that T-post, we have more pinto beans, and then I have a row of shishito peppers, and then I have 4 of these Ahai crystal, I'm not sure how to say that, peppers. And then I have 2, 4, 6, 8 poblano peppers. And then I have a new pepper to me as well. And I've got 3 of these peppers here. More ranunculus. And then on the end here, I have, what are those called? Flowers. These are a flower. And they are called, goodness, nasturtiums. And I'm going to have those nasturtiums cascade down the edge of this bed. And then way up there is where we have more sweet peppers. So it's kind of like a triangle pattern with peppers, and I kind of like that. I still need to find a home for these 3 eggplants. And then here are some black bean pole beans. And I kind of wanted to do an experiment because I have black beans and pinto beans on these big trellises up here. But I had a few extra the other day, so I planted them half of this bed with the pinto beans, and then I'm going to do half this bed with the black beans. I'm just soaking them, and I want to see how well they do on this little bit shorter of a trellis. I have lots of extra peppers. These are extra peppers here. My mother-in-law texted me and said she does want quite a few of the tomatoes. I didn't text her yet about the peppers, but I'm going to text her, see if she wants any of these peppers. I'm going to text my mom because I have a few extra peppers on the edge of each bed as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get going and just start planting these in the ground. This is going to take me a while to get these 3 beds of peppers planted. I'm going to start here because that's where I am, but I need to go grab my bag of all-purpose fertilizer. I'm out now of eggs. I was going to put eggs in all these, but I don't know why I was thinking I would have this many eggs. So what I'm going to do is just put a little handful of this all-purpose fertilizer in each hole with each pepper. And each one of my peppers has a tag, which is amazing. So I'm going to put a tag with each one of my peppers. Root system looks good, not root bound. This is a good time to get them planted. A little handful of all-purpose fertilizer, mix that in a little bit. First of many peppers in the ground. So I got this whole bed planted out with the peppers. Oop. And this is always a good sign. So now what I'm going to do real quick is get these black beans planted from this T-post to that T-post.
the peppers in the ground. So I did get everything figured out where I wanted to put it, and now they have all officially been planted at this point. So we have 3 pepper beds, and we got all the tomatoes done too.
I'm glad that I did this when it wasn't very hot out here because it's about to get pretty toasty. We're gonna go get the green stalk, at least one of them figured out this weekend. I'm gonna gift my mother-in-law the rest of the tomatoes and peppers that she has her name on. She told me what she wanted. My mom wants some, so I should be able to gift the rest of the tomatoes and peppers that I started this weekend. But my mother-in-law and I are gonna go hanging basket shopping, which I wanna put my hanging baskets up here again this year. I think we're gonna go sometime this weekend, and the nursery we're going to has a ton of calibrachoa and petunias, just incredible colors that I can't get at my local box store nursery. And so I think what I'm gonna do here is have one of my green stalks that I have left planted out in just herbs, which I have some that I started myself that are in that pot. And then these are the ones I picked up from Azure. We've got different kinds of parsley and basil. I also need to get these in the ground. Those are my nasturtiums. I'm going to give my sister some of those this weekend. I'm going to give my sister these dahlias this weekend. These are all the pepper plants I have left. Some of them my mother-in-law has her name on them, but I think I'm going to ask my sister if she wants any of the pepper plants and tomato plants. I know she wants to grow a lot of flowers this year, but I should ask if she wants any vegetable starts as well. My main goal though, like I said earlier, is to get this patio clean because it's very dirty, and I want out here to be a really nice, cozy place that doesn't have a bunch of dirt on the ground. And to do that, I need to get these green stalks planted and up off the ground. I'm only gonna get to one because all that to say, I am going to be picking up some flower starts at the nursery when I pick up the hanging baskets for one of these. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these containers I can get planted with the herbs that I purchased from Azure. I want a lot of herbs on my patio this year because I will use them a lot more in my cooking if they're conveniently located. This right here is stevia I started, and I just stuck it in here. This, I've got a couple things over here. Tarragon. I need to get these in the ground too this weekend, but I'm not sure where I'm gonna put them. This is tarragon too, so I wanna get this in the green stock. These don't look super great, but hopefully they'll come back to life after getting planted. I have parsley, basil, lemongrass, nasturtiums, basil, parsley, tarragon in kind of random orders throughout these 5 layers, but what I don't have is cilantro, and I want to get some cilantro in these. I started a bunch of cilantro from seed direct sowed into the garden, and it's pretty heavily sowed. I think I'm going to get my best harvest from the stuff in the garden, but I want some up on the patio, and so I'm going to go ahead and grab some and transplant it. So right in here is a bunch of cilantro. So I'm just gonna, I meant to grab a tool, but I forgot it. Hopefully these survive.
I'm going to go ahead and get the cilantro planted up. So my whole goal for this green stock is to have this fill out for fresh herbs. If you've seen me cook, you see how many fresh herbs I like to cook with. And last year, all my herbs were in the garden, and I thought it would be way more convenient to have a dedicated herb garden on the patio just for ease of cooking and going out to the patio and grabbing it right off the patio. So that's what my thinking is this year for this. I have big hopes for it. I think it's going to do well. And so now that I officially have this one all planted out, I'm going to give everything a good drink of water. So just to remind you what I did, this planter had soil in it last year. So I took out about 30% of the soil. I added compost and some fresh potting mix. I mixed all that together, put it back in the pots or the green stalks, and then now I'm going to get them stacked up, and now I can clean my huge mess. This has been quite a mess, especially when I was like mixing the soil in the pots, and I really want to get this patio clean so we can enjoy dinners out on the patio without a literal dirty mess on the patio.
So I got that green stalk planted up. This is ready to go for this weekend. I cleaned most of this up, but I got more to clean. Later this afternoon, I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff planted out. This stuff planted out, those gifted. I called my mom when I was cleaning up a little bit, and she's actually on her way over, and she's going to pick up a ton of those peppers and tomatoes and flowers for herself, and she's going to pick some up and drop them off to my sister. So I called my sister. I know what she wants. So hopefully this weekend, everything will be out of this grow room in its entirety. I should probably show you this. This is what's in here still. I'm gonna get these outside and planted out in my landscape. This is Rebecca Sahara. Uh-oh. This is an echinacea of some kind. I don't know what, but we've got a few in there. None of my Cherokee Sunset Rebecca germinated. Let's see, this is Rebecca of some kind. This is cherry brandy. So I got 2 of those. I've got, I don't know how to say that. Some of those. And then over here, this is pink and white coneflower. So I've got a couple things in here. You can see these have taken forever. I started these on March 12th. And it is Mother's Day this weekend, so these have taken a long time to germinate and sprout. These should be perennials in my area, so I'm gonna get these actually planted in my landscape, not in the garden. I don't really want any perennials, I've decided, in my garden. So what I'm gonna do now is go inside and enjoy my family. But this weekend, not only do I wanna get that stuff in the ground, I kind of wanna get this area cleaned up. I wanna get all of the grow stuff put away, cleaned up. Maybe I'm not gonna get it done this weekend. What am I saying? That might be a Monday project, but I will for sure 100% have this whole entire patio cleaned up, planted out, so that when I get my hanging baskets out here, can just be a nice area for us to hang out. And I think I need to show you these. These are the peppers I have left, tomatoes I have left, and the sweet potatoes will be planted out probably June 1st. So thank you, friend, for hanging out with me today in my garden. I think I am going to, next time we're in the garden together, you're gonna see a full garden tour, because I am gonna go out there this weekend because it's Mother's Day this weekend. I just wanna putter out there, get a couple things planted. And I know that when I was out there, I was noticing quite a few changes in some things that I haven't shown you. There's things that have sprouted, there's a few things that have died, and there's just a lot of change since last time. Well, I haven't shown you a whole entire garden tour, so lots of change. So I think next time we're in the garden, you are gonna see everything in its entirety. And we did do quite a bit of stuff to the old owner's garden area, which I have yet to show you that as well. So thank you for being here. If you wanna watch more of my videos, I will pop some here. You can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.